And welcome to the Bloom Show. I am Sahid, your host. The Bloom Show is brought to you by Above All Flowers and New Bloom Solutions. The purpose of the Bloom Show is a show for the floral community by the floral community. Our intention is to help innovate, connect, and bloom the flower industry by bringing on different leaders, innovators, startups, and just people that overall just inspire the flower industry to continue to grow. We could only do it with the support of our sponsors. So we're privileged. We're double privileged today, not only to have the show sponsored by Sun Valley, but we're also privileged to have Lane Devries, the CEO of Sun Valley, to be on our show today, especially after they won a few awesome awards at SAF. And not only that, the show is really to also share passion. And if we all know Lane, he has passion for the industry. This week I was at SAF, and everybody spoke so highly of Lane, not just his passion, his commitment to the industry, his product as well, but overall him as a person. So very excited and honored to have Lane on the show today. Again, as you know, this show is for the floral community, by the floral community. So something we love and we appreciate is comments. It's a shout out to give to Lane and say hello, or a question. Today, we are going to be talking and focusing on a particular product, Lane's firstborn, I say, ilex berries. So we will be talking about ilex berries, and ilex berries did win an award. The lilies did win, and I'll let him share what the award was. But it's super exciting, especially right off of SAF, to dive into why they won the award and what's the hard work that goes behind that. So again, feel free to ask questions. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and allow me to welcome onto our show Mr. Lane Devries.
Well, thank you, Sahid, for that kind introduction.
My pleasure. It just happens. So it's not thought out, but it's true, Lane. I spoke to so many people talking about that you're going to be on the show, and they had just great things to say about you. And one thing that I admire of you is your commitment to Women's Day, but we will talk about that later.
Okay.
But I'm excited to talk about that, as well as your unwavering commitment to that holiday and to supporting women in our industry. But again, Lane, thank you for being on the show. Truly appreciate your time and your sponsor.
Thank you.
So Lane, I want to dive into getting to know you a little better, right? So can you tell us your background? Where did it all begin? How did you come into the flower industry? What were you doing before? And how's it going now?
Well, I'm a fourth generation flower farmer.
Okay.
Grew up in Holland. My dad and my grandfather, great grandfather, all grew tulips. That's really my heritage, growing tulips for flower production. And we grew daffodils and summer flowers as well. I came to this great country in 1983 to help set up a lily program for a company in Oregon called Oregon Bulb Farms. And at that time, Oregon Bulb Farms was actually in the process of purchasing Sun Valley. And Sun Valley in those days was just a field grower of daffodils, iris in the spring, and then some lilies in the summertime. But the main focus for the acquisition was the fact that Sun Valley was heavily involved in hybridizing Oriental lilies. As a matter of fact, the Stargazer lily was founded at this location in 1976. And a number of other Oriental lilies originated right here. So that was one of the things that really interested Oregon Bulb Farms, or Melridge in those days, in Sun Valley. But I had come to Oregon Bulb Farms to set up a lily flower program. The flower program they had there was not in very good shape, a lot of issues. So the idea was to build a new greenhouse in Oregon to grow lilies. But when I heard him talk about the potential Sun Valley acquisition, I started looking at climate data in the northern Willamette Valley, which is pretty hot in the summer, pretty dark in the winter, a lot of rain. And I started comparing that to the climate data here in Arcata. and I found that the summers here are much cooler. We have much more light in the winter, just so all the way around a better climate to grow bulb flowers. So I put together a report to the owner of the company, the CEO of the company in those days, and I said, if you were to buy Sun Valley, I think my idea would be to build that greenhouse in Arcata rather than in Oregon, because the climate is so much better here. So he looked at that report and he said, "You're absolutely right. If we buy Sun Valley, that's what we'll do." Well, next thing we know, I was only there for 3 months. The deal closed with Sun Valley in January of 1984. And next thing I know, next day I was on an airplane on my way to Arcata, and the rest is history. So.
And you never look back, huh?
Yes, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So what were you doing before? Like, did you ever have any other jobs? It was right out of college, or it was just always in the family? That's what you were planning to do forever?
I've always been in the flower business. We grew flowers in Holland.
Yes, sir.
We grew the tulips and the daffodils in the winter and summer flowers in the summertime. But we were in a spot where the city that we were farming was expanding. So the city bought our farm. And so I was looking for another farm to basically start up again. And that's when an opportunity popped up with a lily grower in Holland. And I worked there for about a year while I was still searching for land for a new farm. And then this opportunity came up in the United States to set up a lily program in the US. So that's how that rolled.
That's great. So how many years has it been?
In October of this year, it will be 40 years exactly.
Wow. Congratulations, Lane. You've done some amazing things in the industry. Congratulations. And one of those amazing things was winning Best in Show for your lilies, but you also won an award for the ilex berries, correct?
Correct. We had best in class on the winter spirit ilex.
Yes.
And best in class on the double lily called Amistad. Okay. And the Amistad also won the best of show.
The best of show. So I know, as I told you, all I heard was about the ilex. So I heard everybody just raving and ranting. I know Michelle Milano asked one of her children what was her favorite flower, and he said ilex berries. So everybody was just talking about the ilex berries, and you're influencing a little kid from the beginning. So that's awesome. We love to do that. Again, to the audience, please chime in. Give a shout out to Lane as well, or if you have any questions. But now we're going to dive in a little bit to ilex berries, right? So let's get to the juice of it, right? So I know you're a big fan of ilex berries, and we did a small little, not a presentation per se, but a slide so we could share a little bit about it. You want to go through the slide really quickly?
Yeah, but maybe we can give a little background first.
Go for it.
So because we have been growing our bulb flowers in Arcata, like I said, since the mid 80s, and it's been going very well. But then in the late 90s, we had some of our customers started asking us, why don't you grow some of the Oregon type products? Okay. And so the Oregon type products won't grow in Arcata because it's very cool here. And so those are not conducive for the type of Oregon crops. So we started looking inland, and we found a location in Willow Creek, which is about 45 minutes east of Arcata. While the summertime temperatures in Arcata are in the mid 60s, the summertime temperatures in Willow Creek are pretty much in the 90s most of the summer, all the way up to the hundreds. So completely different climate, in the mountains, right in a valley, with the scenic Trinity River, perfect condition to grow the type of crops they grow in Oregon as well. So we started growing those crops in the late 90s. We planted our first ilex. We had some material coming in from Holland. We planted the first plants in, I believe, 2000. And that's how our ilex program started. Now, one of the things we found with that ilex is that, a lot of the Dutch varieties, particularly the Oosterwijk variety, which is the typical variety of ilex that's grown in Holland, it grows very wild. And so one of the things we found is you may get a stem, the berries, you'll have the lateral, that is maybe almost a foot long, and the berries only occupy about 50% of that. The rest of that all needs to be cut off. So it's a lot of work. So that's really was the basis for looking at a better ilex variety that doesn't have those characteristics.
Okay, and that's how you were inspired to breed, because you also breed, correct?
Correct. So in 2007, actually in 2005, we took seed from a number of different plants. We planted in 2006, in the spring of 2006, and by the fall of 2007, we had our first seedlings that were starting to show some berries. And so in 2008 is really when we started doing some selections and finding the plants that had a compact berry set, and so that's really what drove that program.
Is there any other characteristic versus a compact berry set that you choose for when looking at and breeding ilex berries?
Well, there are a number of issues, a number of factors and characteristics we look at. How many stems per plant does that plant produce? Because obviously, the more stems, the better the economics. We look at that lateral that I described earlier. What percentage of that lateral is actually occupied with berries? If that's still only 50%, then it's no better than Oosterwijk. There's no reason to even continue to look at that variety. We look at the overall girth and strength and height of the particular plant. We also look at the size of the berry. Is it a medium-sized berry, a large one, or an extra large one? And then the other thing is look at, obviously, is the color. We found a lot of varieties that are in the light red category. We call it flame. But there's still a market for that, but it's not Christmas, nor is it truly a fall item. It falls right in between. So we do have a number of flame varieties that actually have a beautiful plant set, the way that the berries are set in those. But the one that really stood out in that early round of selections was a variety called GG11, which we now call Autumn Spirit, which happens to be this right here, which is our earliest variety. Wow. And you can see how close the berries are to the stem, how abundant the berry set is. And this is the one that is the earliest. We had a few bunches of this at the SAF convention, during the Sylvia Cup. They used this particular variety, and we had it in our expo booth as well. And so this is the one we start with in the beginning of the season, because it's earlier than any of the others. And we start shipping today, as a matter of fact.
So today is shipping, right? That's awesome. So you go from one color, which is coincidence. So you go from, and you must be busy. So thank you again. You go from fall color into winter. Is that strategically done, or is that kind of a natural process, or you're planting to prepare for that?
It's a little bit of both, because it is. Okay, cool. The orange ones are ready, while the red ones are not. There is a gold variety that is actually a little bit later. There is a salmon color. It's a little lighter orange than this that comes after this. So it's not by choice. They're just not ready to pick yet. So so it's a little bit of both. But clearly we want to keep all the fall colors, all the way up to Thanksgiving. And post Thanksgiving, we turn to 100% Winter Spirit.
You're also doing Winter Spirit is red or white?
Winter Spirit is the red one. Winter Spirit is the one that was at the Outstanding Variety.
Gotcha. And do you do the white as well? The cream?
That would be a good one to have white ilex, but we're not there yet. No.
Am I misspoken? Am I misspeaking? Isn't there a cream ilex?
There is a lemon creamy one, but there is not a white one yet.
Got it. No. Okay. So I swore that I saw something, but maybe I saw the lemon one then. So but can you...
We did have a number of snowberries.
Snowberries, yeah.
That's
maybe
probably
what I'm thinking, but it doesn't have the laterals as normal, correct?
Correct.
So let's say that for new florists that are coming onto the call, what is the difference between a snowberry and an ilex berry?
Oh, snowberry is a completely different genus.
More compact.
It's a completely different type of plant. The berries are a little bit larger. they're all close to the stem, while an ilex has laterals sticking out,
Exactly.
like this. So,
Yes.
well, the snowberries are all, close to the stem.
Straight
and
in one
average
stem.
ilex stem has way more berries on it than a snowberry does. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for that 101. And then can you share, as an industry expert, what unique challenges have you faced while developing the new ilex? What are the unique what do you is considering the water droughts and everything in California, how is that affected?
Well, one thing you need for a good ilex production is bees. The bees are essential in getting a good ilex crop. And if you have no bees, no pollination, you will not get very many berries. So that's one very important factor. The other important factor is you need to have males that bloom at the exact same time as these females.
Ooh, okay.
And so, so when we had our first field of 2,000 seedlings, where the GG11, the Autumn Spirit, and the BB9, the Winter Spirit, originated from, we went through that same field, and 50% of them were males, obviously. And so we selected males that were blooming at the exact same time as the GG11 and the BB9. Because if you have a male that blooms 3 weeks earlier than the female,
okay,
or later than the female,
you lose.
You still have no berries. Because you may have all the bees in the world, but if the male and the female don't bloom at the same time, it's pretty hard to get berries. So that's a key component. And so we have all our varieties ranked by blooming group, and we have males that go in those same blooming groups. So every time we find a new variety,
go ahead.
The first thing we look at is, how do they bloom? Which male do we need to put together with this?
And are you also in the business, not the business, but in the hobby or the process of beekeeping at your farms?
No. We bring in a beekeeper each summer.
Okay.
We have a local beekeeper who brings out his hives, and it works very well. But yeah, that's not the hobby we're into.
So they'll come in and bring the hives for a day or two, do their thing, and then.
Oh, it's more than a few days. I mean, the hives are in the ilex.
Yes.
They're basically there for 6 to 7 weeks.
Wow.
Because the first variety, which is our GG11 and 43-4, are actually blooming pretty early too. They'll start blooming the end of May.
Okay.
The last varieties, which are still of some of the old Dutch varieties, we still have a little bit of Oosterwijk left. They bloom all the way in July. The 1st of July to mid-July. So you got about a 7-week span between the first one and the last one. So those bees need to be present the whole time.
And I hope that this question is, and I love the whole bee thing. And there's some companies actually some startups that are developing better processes and analytics for bees. It's really, really interesting. And that's why I asked. So when it comes to, sorry, I lost my track of thought here. Throughout the years, how has the program evolved, and what milestones have you achieved for ilex berries?
So it started originally with just having the light reds, the flames. So we developed the red one, the truly red one was Winter Spirit, and the truly orange one was Autumn Spirit.
Okay.
But then so that was our F1 field of seedlings. So out of those better varieties, we started the F2s. We planted a whole new field. And out of that field, we had a number of other selections. And one of the most notable ones is the B43-4, which is our Salmon Spirit. The Salmon Spirit is quite a bit different than Autumn Spirit. The berries are slightly larger, but they are much lighter orange. They're almost a salmon look. Mm-hmm. That's what we call a Salmon Spirit, obviously. And so that has been so we grow Autumn Spirit and Salmon Spirit side by side. And so that was a big milestone. And then we are now actually in the F5 series. You have the 5th generation, so to say.
Okay, cool.
And in that particular generation, we now have a one that is truly a gold one, a gold variety, a gold colored variety. And with a very heavy berry set. and very, very exciting. So we just keep stretching and hoping to enter new frontiers with colors in ilex. So.
That's great. And then, Lane, what are the attributes, I guess, of ilex berries that customers look for? So what have you heard from your florists, from your wholesalers? What is it and why are they purchasing, not just because of the red for Christmas, but what is those attributes that are special to them?
Something that is unique about our varieties, and I don't know how it happened, but it just happened. The berries are very close to the stem. While some of the older varieties, there's a stem that is almost like 3 to 4 millimeters long, where that berry sits on. So as those branches get tangled up, and they try to work with it, a lot of the berries fall off. One thing that we're very blessed with our varieties, that since the berries are so close, they don't easily fall off, and you can actually shake the stem pretty hard. This is a big test right here, and still nothing is falling off. And that's one of the things we're hearing from our customers, that when they get some other ilex varieties, they may find a box full of berries on the bottom of the box. With the spirit varieties, it's something that you rarely see happen. As a matter of fact, we still have a little bit of golden verboom. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that variety. It's one of the older gold-colored varieties. When we process that in our bunching room, the whole room will be covered with goldberry berries. I mean, it's like you're walking through a sea of berries. I mean, that's just the golden verboom characteristic. The gold spirit, who has that exact same color, doesn't do that. And so that's, I think, is a huge factor.
It is. And sometimes you see the ilex berries in the clear sleeves, and then all on the bottom, there's tons of the berries collected with the tape, and they're not falling out. Yeah.
Well, I'm not claiming that we don't have any berry fall.
I get it.
There's always some. I mean, that's just inevitable, right? But by and large, the berry drop on our varieties is significantly lower than some of the older varieties.
So I'm gonna turn the direction real quick, just because it's something I found out about you, and I thought it would be fun to kind of put it in the middle before we keep on talking. But I don't know if any of you know that Lane is actually an influencer. We were talking about Instagrams, and Lane, is that it? That's it, right, Lane? At Lane Devries?
Yeah, Lane Devries.
Okay, yes. Cool. Lane has 13,000 followers for his own personal Instagram account. So that is insane. So Lane, he's such a humble gentleman. He's been hitting the influencer field for a while. So Lane, how did that start? If you can, how did that all start, Lane?
Well, that's a good one. I'm kind of a latecomer when it comes to Instagram.
13,000 followers.
I think I started only 5 years ago.
Congratulations.
And I've just been posting pictures around the farm. Sometimes more frequent than other times, and somehow kind of developed a following that people that seem to like those pictures, I suppose.
Yeah, that is amazing. You're such a humble guy, that it's impressive to see 13,000 followers, and it's not easy sometimes. So it came natural to you, huh?
Yeah. No, we didn't put any dollars at work to make that happen. No, it's just all organic.
So everybody check out at Lane Devries, and tag him and ask him to come on your show. He's a superstar. All right, so now back to the questions. Lane, how sustainability is a really important topic now. How are you considering sustainability when it comes to ilex berries and Sun Valley in general? What are you doing at your farms to continue to encourage that and improve that?
Yeah, sustainability is very important. One of the ways to get that Oosterwijk variety that I described earlier, that grows way beyond where the berries are. I mean, in the marketplace, you'll see this nice, tight-looking iris from Holland. And in many cases, that's the Oosterwijk variety as well. And the way that is done by two measures. The roots are cut during a certain time of the year, which keeps them more compact, which takes a lot of labor, obviously. But more importantly, the way to keep an Oosterwijk compact is to spray it with growth retardants. There's the Alar. Remember the Alar from the Apple scare way back in the 80s? This also goes on the B9. And there are other growth retardants that you need to spray on that Oosterwijk variety in order to keep it compact. With the Spirit series and with the Autumn Spirit and the Winter Spirit, this is all genetics. I mean, genetically, they stay compact. We don't have to spray this with any growth retardants. It just happens, by itself. And so I think that's a huge factor that sets these varieties apart from some of the older varieties.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're not using chemicals as little. You're using them as little as possible when it comes to ilex berries.
Correct.
To encourage more sustainability.
Yeah. The Spirit varieties that we grow, we do not use any growth retardants on them. There's no need for it because they're staying automatically, genetically compact and short.
Gotcha. And what advice would you give someone 40 years ago, someone that was in your place 40 years ago, looking at new varieties, saying, hey, we should try this variety and going against the grain? What advice would you give new breeders and new farmers in our industry?
Oh, I mean, I'm pretty much a flower farmer by trade, and breeding is just a hobby. So I don't proclaim to be a professional breeder by any means. But, I think the one thing, you look at what is out there and what bothers you and what takes, too much labor, and how can you improve upon those things? And I think that's really was the foundation, for us looking at a better ilex.
Yeah. And talking about that ilex berry, what do you envision for the future of Sun Valley's ilex programs, and how do you see it contributing to the flower industry? Do you see a trend? What have you heard?
I mean, I see our ilex, continuing to grow in the marketplace. The customers who have handled our ilex are all raving about the quality and how it really compares, to the Dutch look of ilex, which is the preferred look in the marketplace. And this does it, genetically. And for that reason, I see our market for ilex continuing to grow. Because it's American grown, American grown ilex that is that has the look that customers are after, and so for that reason I see there is a big market still wide open for this ilex.
And are you exporting at all?
No, we do not. We have shipped some ilex to China.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Over the years. But that has not played a very large role because there's still a huge market in the United States.
Yes,
but we have shipped some to China. Yeah.
Fantastic. And then, all right, so let's get to a couple things that are close to me. Anything else? I think we do have that presentation. You want to run it by real quick?
Yeah,
I want to show some
maybe
pictures.
I forgot something. So let's look at it.
Let's go through it real quick. So
this is obviously the Spirit ilex. Yeah, with the Winter Spirit in the top pictures. There's the Winter Spirit.
Oh, sorry, there we go.
And then on the bottom there at the SCF convention, that was the Autumn Spirit that we won a blue ribbon with way back in 2018. And on the other side, that's the Salmon Spirit, which, as you can see, is way lighter. Yeah.
And then we have, there you go. We'll kind of run through this real quick.
We started in 2007.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although there are many selections in the pipeline, these specific varieties have been granted U.S. patents. And then that's the Winter Spirit. Look at the size of that.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, the ones we had in the SCF outstanding varieties, I mean, we picked them. Let's see, the show was last Wednesday. I had picked them the Saturday before. Now, I couldn't have picked them any earlier yet because there was no color on them. So they were just barely finished. As a matter of fact, the leaves were on still so tight, the leaves wouldn't come off. I had to actually cut every leaf off with a knife, which took a fair amount of time to get that vase done. But once you get later in the season, you can see how the berries they start filling up even more.
Yeah.
And they even get a little redder. So.
Reminds me almost of a pomegranate, just full and delicious. Um, we have here the salmon spirit.
Yeah. So that's the B43-4, which is one of the F2s. As you can see, it has a much lighter look on it than the autumn spirit does.
So Lane, I'm also impressed with all the codes you're remembering. See, that's that thing's not easy. Farmers are remembering codes left and right. It's incredible. Let me see here. And then if you want to go through this, you can. I know we're
Yeah,
just going to
so
go through it.
production per plant is obviously, that for the consumer is not that relevant, but to a flower farmer it is, because that really determines, your cost price. But yeah, one of the things that's really important about our ilex is the hardness in the cooler after storage. We have seen at the end of the season, when we get closer and closer to Christmas, some of the Oosterwijk berries may start getting a little soft because they're just inherent with that variety, while the winter spirit berries still stay, very hard. So that's very important when you get close to Christmas. Now, the berry drop we talked about already, the compact stem we talked about,
Yes, sir.
and no need for growth retardants.
And then these are the leaves you see here, right?
What's that?
You said the leaves. These are when the leaves drop, I guess.
Yeah, this is a crop. See, the interesting thing with an ilex, you pick it every other year. So you pick it all the way down to the ground in the fall.
Yeah.
Then the next year that plant comes all the way back, and what you see here is a crop that had grown in an off year part of the cycle, so to say.
Okay.
Next year, these plants are going to develop the flowers and the berries.
So all that, skipping a year, you still have to maintain it. You still have the land. So there's a cost to that.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And that's very important for florists and wholesalers to understand that. That's why some product costs more or less than others because of the resources you have. So you have 1 year that you're not making any profit off of hectares and hectares, correct?
Correct. So we have the total acreage we have cut in half. And so for each color, we have 50% producing 1 year, 50% the next year. So and we do that for all the different varieties. So we have a nice assortment each year.
But you have double the cost.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, totally. You're still fertilizing and irrigating.
And labor and cleaning, and someone had to pick up all those leaves at some point, maybe. So there's a lot of labor as well. This is the berry structure.
Yeah, this is how the berries are close to the stem. Again, this is a picture of winter spirit, and by being close, we talked about that already.
Gotcha.
So here is the one of the factors we were looking for selections that have between 80% and 100% of the lateral occupied with berries, naturally. Most of the common varieties in the marketplace, have 40 to 60% of the berry structure. We talked about that. We talked about the Alar and the B9, or very labor intensive to trim all those tips off. And so you don't have to do that with these varieties.
Let's see here. This is a comparison.
This is a perfect example how the B9, which is the winter spirit, see how genetically it just all stays right there.
Yeah.
Where it is the Oosterwijk. First of all, you have a lighter berry set, and secondly, you need to cut all these tips off in order to make it look presentable.
So it's much more labor for you, and then you could actually pack them better with BB9, correct? As well.
Correct.
Wow, that's interesting. Yep. And you could see how compact they are. Therefore, you have less berry drops. Like the one to the left, they look like they're, you could see that. That's incredible. Then what do we have here? That's high density, same thing.
Lots and lots and lots of berries.
And this is what it looks like with the leaves on.
Yeah, this is what it looks like in the field before we defoliate it. Yeah, correct.
And what's the process to defoliate?
That's a good one. Early in the season, for the orange varieties, we pick them, we put them in water, we put them in an environment with a fairly high temperature, but also very high humidity with a fogger. And we keep them in there and that's why we have been picking already now for 2 weeks, but we're starting to ship the first ones today. It takes about 2 weeks for the leaves to all start falling off with that high temperature, high humidity environment. So as we get later in the season, and when we start picking the reds, a lot of the leaves already start to drop in the field because now you're all the way into November. But yeah, particularly early on, that heat and humidity is really important to get that.
And again, more cost, more expense. So it's just not cutting them and putting them in a box. There's a 2-week process that you have to pay for electricity, real estate, labor, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's, like I said, it's really neat to look at the behind the scenes to have an understanding of why they're not 50 cents. They cost something. And then this is.
So this is another good example. So GG11 is the autumn spirit, the variety, that we got right here. And Golden Verboom is one of the older Dutch varieties. And so this is just for comparison's sake, you see the same thing, how you got all the growths beyond the berries that needs to be trimmed off. And with GG11, you don't have to do any of that. So.
And you're the one trimming stuff off, correct? Right? No, it's you trim it at the farm level.
Yeah, no, we're trimming it all at the farm.
I'm pretty sure you're not doing that anymore, but I'm pretty sure you've done it sometime in your lifetime, right?
Yeah, but we still grow some Golden Verboom. We still grow some Oosterwijk. So yeah, there's still much more labor in there to trim all those tips
beautiful
off.
Picture. Look at that view, man. Wow, what a beautiful office view.
Yeah, that's the farm in Willow Creek where we grow the ilex. Correct.
What a beautiful office view. And thank you. There we go. So let's go to some questions and some fan clubs here. So we have Marianne Ernst saying, very interesting. I think it was earlier that we were talking about your Instagram. So they're saying, and then here's one of your, I think the president of your fan club, other than Mike Black, which I'll talk about Mike Black. I want to give him a shout out. But Jay Schwanke, Lane's ilex is amazing, and it is a coming trend in the flower industry for sure. It is fantastic.
Well, thank you, Jay.
David Kaplan, quality sells, especially on ilex.
Thank you, David. That's my ghost co-host. And then we have, let me see. Jay Schwanke says, SVG, Sun Valley, ilex is always primo, such great quality. We have a question here that says, are there more varieties and colors in the pipeline? And then we had a little shout out by Jay saying, like green.
Like green? Well, you can get them green by picking them early enough, I suppose. But because, they're all green up till just a few weeks ago. But yeah, no, there's a lot of varieties in the pipeline. And now in terms of colors, like I said, we are still refining that gold look. We have a gold variety right now, Gold Spirit, which is our C11 467723, which is our Gold Spirit today. But we're still looking at refining that and improving on it. So, and that's what I was saying earlier in our F5s. We have a variety now that is just absolutely spectacular. So.
Awesome. Lane, so I want to ask you a question, and not a question. I want to talk about an awesome topic, and I see it right on your chest, and I feel left out today. I'm looking around my office and seeing if I have any of the stickers that I usually collect on my way at a convention, because you will make sure everybody has a sticker. So tell us about your passion for Women's Day. When did that start, supporting Women's Day? Tell us about the stickers, because everybody, they see me with the sticker. Where can I get one? And then they ask for one, and I direct them to you. So tell me more about that. How did it all start that you got so passionate about Women's Day, supporting the holiday, and at the same time supporting women? And tell us about the stickers that are so famous.
Well, it started way back in 2010. As a matter of fact, it was a Congressional Action Day in Washington, D.C. We actually, during that particular Congressional Action Day in 2010, we shipped a bunch of tulip bouquets to Washington. And one afternoon, after one of the sessions, it was a group of volunteers. I think we had a group of about 30 of us. We went into Georgetown and started handing out, tulips with the Women's Day sticker on it. And that was really the kickoff of the Women's Day, reinvigorating it in the United States. Now you may ask why do you say reinvigorated? Believe it or not, but Women's Day started in the United States
Exactly.
way back in 1908. It's an American holiday.
In New York, right?
In New York,
The League of
exactly.
Ladies, yeah.
So it's been an American holiday for over 100 years.
Yes.
Now it moved to the Russia, USSR, in 1917 with the Russian Revolution. That's really where it became a holiday, and it stayed there for decades. And then with the when the wall came down in the 90s, that is really when it became a large holiday in all the former East Bloc countries and in Russia, and it's become a huge holiday there. I mean, Women's Day in Europe and in Russia is larger than Mother's Day and Valentine's Day combined.
Yeah.
So it's a huge opportunity for us as an American floral community to bring Women's Day back to the United States and really look at developing that into a huge holiday here. We already have Valentine, we already have Mother's Day, but we don't need to make those holidays any bigger, because there's already a big peak in our demand, infrastructure, labor, everything else. What we need to do is we need to looking at other opportunities to develop some of these dormant flower holiday opportunities that are there. We just need to develop it better. And Women's Day is one example, but there are many other opportunities. Coming back to school day, a teacher day. I mean, there are holiday opportunities throughout the year, but we can only take one at a time, right? So our focus has really been on Women's Day, and we were blessed that in 2014, SEF awarded us with the Floral Marketer of the Year, which really put Women's Day on the map at that point. And I'm proud to say that, looking around the floral community, the Women's Day is getting traction. It is becoming a holiday. And so it has taken, what is it now, 13, 14 years? But it is starting to get some traction. And I feel very good about that. So
when I did sales for 16 years, I had 2 or 3 clients in New York, small micro markets that for Women's Day they would buy much more than Valentine's Day or Mother's Day. So there is an opportunity, as you say, is focusing on the micro markets, because we are believe it or not, an international country, right? So there is communities, like I know where the communities are here in Miami and South Florida, that some of our wholesalers that we support and consult for, we use strategic marketing into that town and say, all right, Women's Day, if there's a Russian community or a Eastern European, let's market to that town and promote Women's Day and maybe a promotion or something to sell to the florists and to create that awareness as well. So there is a lot of opportunity for florists as well to use that marketing and to kind of find micro markets in their area. And if you have a Russian community, market to them. I think it's very important.
And Russian community is great, but I think, honestly, in my view, I mean, I think it's a great launching pad.
Yes,
but the real opportunity lies in really spreading this holiday throughout, the American population, to all American. And
makes sense.
And now there's a couple of beautiful pieces about Women's Day, unlike Labor Day, unlike Valentine's Day, which is very color specific.
Yes,
Women's Day is not. Any color works for Women's Day, and I think that's huge. You don't have to have a specific rose variety or rose color. I mean, all colors that are available, work for Women's Day. But I think at the end of the day, the most enticing attribute of all is that 50% of the population is eligible to receive flowers that particular day.
That's interesting.
It's more Valentine's and
Mother's Day. Everybody says everybody has a mother. So Women's Day, everybody has a woman and a lady in their life, in one way or another. So
exactly, or a daughter, or a grandma. I mean,
exactly.
Just the opportunities are endless.
Exactly. So Let me see something. I have a question here. Let's come to this question by Guillermo Maecha. Lane, how did you survive the summer? It was really hard for us Colombian growers. Was it for you as hard? Sorry, he's a little Dutch, so he does things a little different. Go ahead.
It was definitely a rough summer. There is no doubt about it. And I mean, we share that pain with everybody else. So.
Yeah. So it was a rough summer for everybody. But going back to Women's Day, I've invited you on. Hopefully, we're going to do it this year. I think we're on the 3rd or 4th annual Women's Day Roundtable, and we usually go live from WUFSA. So you have accepted that you will be our 3rd co-host, as long as Willie's there. You'll be our 3rd co-host for the Women's Day Roundtable. So it's an honor to have you on the show during WUFSA with us. Hopefully, you'll make it to WUFSA, and then you could be a part of the show. But it'd be great to have you. I think you're an ambassador for Women's Day, and it'll be awesome to have you.
Well, I'm delighted to participate and to help out. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. So, Lane, a couple of fun questions, and if anybody has a fun question to ask Lane, please chime in. Lane, baseball, soccer, or football?
Football, all the way.
American football?
Absolutely.
Really? That's impressive because you're European, man.
No, 49ers, man. 49ers.
Really? There you go. What is one interesting thing about you that nobody knows, Lane? And Lane wasn't ready for these questions, by the way, everybody. So that's what makes it fun. A hobby, a mindset, a talent. What's one thing no one really knows about you?
I love listening to classical music.
You're a classical music guy, huh?
Yep.
All right. So I'm kind of thinking the questions on the top. Wiener schnitzels, hamburgers, or hot dogs?
Oh my golly. How about a salad?
So you're a vegetarian?
I am, for the last 2.5 years, I've continually turned vegan, correct. Yep.
There you go. So that's something no one knew about you, Lane. So,
some do, but
yeah. So we have to have a vegetarian option, a vegan option for you, huh? a vegan option for you. So, Lane, I'm out of questions. I truly appreciate your commitment to the flower industry. Thank you for supporting the Bloom Show as well. It really means a lot. And thank you for coming on and sharing your passion, because that is something that you're known for as a passionate, caring man. So we really appreciate you in the industry.
Well, thank you very much, Sahid. It was a pleasure to be on your show.
I hope you had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed and have fun. You won't be in Colombia, right? There's no reason for you to.
No, I'm not
you're not going to Profile. Have you ever gone?
No.
That's interesting. Maybe you don't have a reason.
One of these days. So.
Yeah, might go check it out. Do a little tourism here. We have another comment by your number one fan. Great interview, so interesting. Well done, gentlemen. So, thank you, Jay. I'm surprised we didn't find Mike Black today, but Mike Black, if you didn't know, he was awarded the Paul Ecke Award, which is for his outstanding commitment to the flower industry and to the community. And as I told Mike Black, he started in 28th Street, and now he's on the stage of SAF receiving an award. So congratulations to him, man. And I know he's a big fan of you as well. Here we have another. Mike. Yeah. Here we have another one. Red Bell Rising. Thank you for sharing. Sean Alder Boca Raton. So that's cool. Thank you for joining. Make sure to subscribe. And then we have Kaplan saying mismo. I guess he's saying congratulations and thank you. And he's saying great info. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for chiming in. So again, Lane, as you can see, you're a celebrity and you bring out all the fans. So I appreciate you. Don't forget, I gotta give another pitch here. Don't forget to follow at Lane Devries, 13,000 followers. All right. Don't forget to follow him. So Lane, again, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun for me. I hope it was a lot of fun for you guys.
Absolutely.
And truly appreciate your time. I'm going to put you in the Bloom room and say my goodbyes.
All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Lane. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye. All right, guys. So that was a lot of fun. You know, it's always a lot of fun to talk to someone that has so much passion and commitment to the industry. And thank you for everybody that chimed in as well. And Jay, it was awesome to see you. You're a great support and buddy of ours. So thank you so much, and thank you as well, Dave, and everybody else, Guillermo, and everybody else that chimed in. Please don't forget to subscribe. Super important. We do have a special Bloom Show episode. We've been invited to Pro Flora 2023 in Bogota. We are working on the technicalities. We might not go live, but we will have many different highlights throughout the show. And as well, after the show, we are going to be doing booth shows. We're also going to be doing panel interviews. One panel interview is Royal Van Zanten and some of their partners, and a couple other sustainability. So keep an eye out. We'll be kind of giving out the dates of when we're going to go live with those special episodes, and chime in. And again, if you want to at any point sponsor of any of our episodes, we truly appreciate it. That's how we keep this going, and continue to add value back to the flower industry. So again, thank you to our sponsor this time, at Sun Valley. Really appreciate you. So please do follow them on their Instagram as well. And here you go, Sun Valley Instagram handle at Sun Valley. Again, thank you for joining the Bloom Show, being our audience. And don't forget, it is a show by the floral community for the floral community. Take care.